let's all get a laugh together here because this is the list. And you see the list, right? Well, I don't see. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you see Angel Reese on this list?
Angel Reese just got hit with a brutal wake-up call. ESPN's new rankings have her at number 12, that's right, double digits, while Caitlin Clark is sitting pretty at number 2. It's not even close anymore. You might be thinking, is this for real? Did Reese really fall that far? Well, buckle up, because we're about to dive into why this ranking is sending shockwaves through the WNBA and what it means for both players' futures. Trust me, you don't want to miss this.
Wasn't there. She wasn't there. I wonder if she was even like, I don't know if they showed you past top 10. I would venture to say, is she in the top 20 ? Top 30. 20 to 30? 30 to 40?
Remember all that trash talk from Reese last season? Well, ESPN just delivered the ultimate reality check. Reese ended up at number 12 in the rankings. Can you believe it? That's not even the top 10 now. You might be thinking, maybe she just had a bad season. But it's more than that.
I think it's pretty surprising for a lot of these folks. I will tell you this straight up. Angel Reese ain't nowhere to be found in the top 10. She's not involved. You're not here. Sorry, but not sorry. You're not to be seen.
Let's break down her game. So we were talking Brick's weak defense and a whole lot of stat padding. But here's the kicker. Raise keeps talking like she's the face of the league. Meanwhile, her actual performance on the court, it's telling a completely different story. You know what they say, actions speak louder than words. And Reese's actions, they're barely a whisper.
Let's go. Asia Wilson, Caitlin Clark, Breonna Stewart, Nafisa Collier, Alyssa Thomas, Rika's on there, Sabrina Ionescu, Jonquel Jones. I like Jonquel Jones. Jewel Lloyd and Kelsey Plum. I don't see Angel Reese in the top 10. There's got to be some kind of tragic mistake.
Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. Experts are saying her game hasn't improved at all. Some even think she's regressing. Can you imagine a player who was hyped up as the next big thing, and now she's sliding backward? It's like watching a car crash in slow motion, but with more air balls. But wait, there's more, because this ranking, it's not just about Reese. It's about the changing landscape of women's basketball. We're seeing a shift, folks. The days of just being tall and grabbing rebounds aren't cutting it anymore. The game is evolving, and players like Reese.
But it's interesting. I mean, again, I didn't see an Angel Reese in there anywhere. And I seem to remember the legacy media shoehorning her into every article about the Rookie of the Year that ever saw publication last year anywhere on the interwebs.
Now, you might be wondering what's Reese saying about all this. Well, buckle up, because this is where it gets really interesting. Despite the rankings, despite the criticism, Reese is still out there talking herself up. She's claiming she's a key draw for fans, saying people tune in just to watch her play. But here's the thing, the numbers don't lie, and right now those numbers are telling a very different story.
Boston and Angel being higher than Satu, that's crazy work, fam. I'm sorry.
Let's talk about that contrast for a second. On one side, you've got Reese's social media presence. It's all glam shots, bold statements, and enough confidence to fill an arena. On the other side, her actual gameplay, it's like night and day, folks. 1 minute, she's posting about being unstoppable. The next, she's getting stopped by pretty much everyone on the court.
Angel Reese went on this massive rant last year with Kennedy Carter, I believe, standing next to her about how people are tuning in for her. It wasn't just one other person, but all these people are moving the needle, and people want to watch her, except you're not her.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Some experts are calling Reese a glorified rebound chaser. Ouch. That's got to sting. It's like being the world's tallest tree in a forest nobody visits. Sure, you're grabbing those rebounds, but if that's all you're doing, you're not exactly setting the basketball world on fire.
There is no individual who has benefited more from the Caitlin Clark effect than Angel Reese. That's my hot take. Think about it. From going up against her, playing her in college, taking on that villain role, going into the league at the same time as Caitlin Clark, everything that she's said and done on social media or in post-game press conferences, she is a star because of Caitlin Clark. She would not be a star if Caitlin Clark weren't a player. She'd be just as good a women's basketball player. She'd have been picked high in the WNBA draft and would still be a good player. but she is a star because of Caitlin Clark.
So what does this all mean for Reese? Well, it's a wake-up call plain. And simple, that number 12 ranking, it's not just a number, it's a message. It's ESPN and the basketball world saying, hey, Angel, you've got work to do. And we're not talking about a little fine-tuning. Here we're talking major improvements across the board.
I think they had a list last year. She was like 15 or something like that. Angel was like 19. And this year they got it closer to being right. It's more so, it's closer, okay? She's second. And I'm fine with that. You know what I mean?
Remember when everyone was doubting Caitlin Clark, no saying she wasn't athletic enough for the WNBA? Well, look at her now. When ESPN dropped their rankings, guess who sat pretty at number 2? That's right, Clark's right up there at the top. And let me tell you, it's no accident.
We've got ESPN's ranks of WNBA players right now. And Caitlin Clark is really damn high. One could argue she's not high enough.
Let's go back to her college days for a second. People said she was just a shooter, nothing more. But Clark had other plans. She didn't just score, she rewrote the record books. Did you know she became the first player in NCAA history to record a 900-point season? That's not just good, that's mind-blowing. Clark wasn't content with being a one-trick pony. She was out there proving she could do it all.
Now, I don't know where you are on Caitlin Clark, a lot of you viewers, but one could argue she's not high enough. Her haters will be furious that she's as high as they are, and there's a few of those comments. She's pretty damn high. There's only one player ahead of her in the league, and a lot of us could argue she may pass that player this year.
Now, you might be thinking, sure, she scored a lot in college, but the WNBA, that's a whole different game, right? Wrong. Clark didn't just adapt, she dominated from day one. She's out there breaking rookie records left and right. And those logo threes we all loved in college. Yes, she brought those to the pros, too. It's like she's playing on a court that's...
What is also valuable is ESPN's rankings of WNBA players. And let's just take a look at this. Caitlin Clark has established herself as one of the best players in the WNBA.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Clark's impact goes way beyond the court. Did you see the viewership numbers for her games? They're through the roof. The WNBA has never seen anything like this. We're talking about Clark drawing more fans than many franchises combined. Can you believe that one player is bringing in more viewers than entire teams? That's not just star power, that's supernova power.
We did go off of how much winning Caitlin was doing, how she was contributing to winning, and then going off the viewership and all that. Oh, yeah, for sure. I think Caitlin should have won, man. I think Caitlin should have won.
And it's not just about numbers. Clark's playing style is literally changing the game. Coaches are rethinking their entire defensive strategies because of those logo threes. And no-look passes, they're not just flashy. Their effective teams are scrambling to figure out how to stop her. And so far, no one's cracked the code. Now, let's talk about those 30-point games. Clark isn't just having good games. She's making history every time she steps on the court. She's putting up numbers that have people comparing her to the established stars of the league, and she's doing it as a rookie.
And lo and behold, I couldn't believe my eyes when I seen number 2. They had Caitlin Clark. I said, really?
Can you imagine what she'll be like with a few years of pro experience under her belt? But here's the kicker. Clark isn't just succeeding, she's redefining what's possible in women's basketball. We're not just watching a great player, we're watching someone who's changing the entire landscape of the sport. Every game, every shot, every pass is pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible.
Surprisingly, Clark is listed number 2. All right, some of y'all are going to be mad. Only behind WNBA MVP Asia Wilson. This ranking came after a big first year that saw the Indiana Fever playmaker average 19.7 points a game, 5.2 rebounds, 8.4 assists, by the way, that led the league, 1.3 steals, and 0.7 blocks per game. And if I remember correctly, Caitlin Clark actually had averaged more block shots than Angel Reese. I believe that's a thing.
Now, you might be wondering, how does this compare to other rising stars? Well, that's where things get even crazier. While some players are fighting to stay relevant, Clark is out there setting the standard. She's not just in the conversation for best player in the league. She's making a case for being the undisputed queen of basketball.
And, of course, you did have some haters. Please, Clark is not better than Stewie, Fee, or Inescu. Clark is not better than Stewart. Glazing Clark is not better than Ionescu, blah, blah, blah. No matter what Caitlin Clark does, she's going to have some haters out there. It's just they're losing their minds over all the people that have either been traded for and signed for the Indiana Fever right now. And, of course, it looks like a powerhouse of a team with Stephanie White leading the charge.
You know how they say one player can change a team? Well, Caitlin Clark isn't just changing a team. She's reshaping the entire WNBA. Let's talk about what's going down in Indiana. The Fever, they're not messing around anymore. They've gone Allen during free agency, building a squad that's got everyone talking. But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just about Indiana.
I'll be damned if they didn't go get Sid. Ah! They went up and snatched Sid Coulson from the Ascents. She is 100% vibes. She is 100% going to be a backup for Caitlin. It's going to be fantastic. Backup for Kelsey. Like, she is a great addition to this backcourt. She has senior leadership. She has championship experience. She is the most fun ever.
Can you believe what's happening across the league? Teams are scrambling like it's Black Friday at the mall. They're revamping rosters, tweaking game plans, all because of one rookie. It's like Clark showed up and suddenly everyone realized they needed to step up their game. You might be thinking, come on, how much impact can one player have? Trust me, it's more than you can imagine.
Legacy crosses teams and fandoms following today's win. South Carolina coach Dawn Staley took a moment to acknowledge what Clark has done for the sport.
Just don't want to not utilize this opportunity to thank Caitlin for what she's done for women's basketball. Like, her shoulders were heavy and getting a lot of eyeballs on our game. And sometimes as a young person, it could be a bit much, but I thought she handled it with class. And I hope that every step of the ladder of success that she goes, she's able to elevate whatever room she's in.
Let's break it down. The Indiana Fever didn't just sign a few players. They went out and got some serious talent to surround Clark. We're talking about a team that's been struggling for years. And now they're acting like contenders. Why? Because they know they've got a once-in-a-generation player, and they're not about to waste that opportunity.
What the Indiana Fever did last night got me so excited. The Fever, if you haven't been paying attention, they are really active in ensuring that Caitlin Clark and company have a true contending lineup next season.
But it's not just about what's happening on the court. The fans are going absolutely crazy. Ticket sales are through the roof. People who've never watched a WNBA game in their lives are suddenly dying to see Clark play and merchandise. Let's just say if you want a Clark jersey, you better act fast because they're selling like hotcakes.
The biggest thing for me is her not even responding to all the what's going on. And I think that's commendable. I think she's a unicorn. She's doing everything I thought she was going to do and more, like win the MVP.
You think Caitlin
That's not going to happen this year, but it could happen very soon.
It's great for the conversation.
Y'all all went to the Olympics and now y'all losing now. Y'all burnt out? Y'all should have let this young girl go over there and play.
I just don't think there's a correlation.
Nah, but she would because she's a rookie. He let these young play. Caitlin Clark is a superhero.
Now, you might be wondering, is this just a flash in the pan? No way. What we're seeing here is something experts are calling the Caitlin Clark effect. It's not just about her skills, though those are off the charts. It's about the buzz, the excitement, the way she's making people care about women's basketball in a whole new way.
This is going to be history. It's like what I told her. That's pretty epic that we get to watch her, because not a lot of games here in Dallas with somebody that big of a...
Think about it. When was the last time you saw a rookie come into the league and immediately become the face of it? Clark's not just playing great basketball. She's changing the conversation about what's possible in the WNBA. Teams are rethinking their strategies. Fans are filling arenas. And the league itself is getting more attention than ever before.
Of course, a lot of people pointed out that Caitlin Clark's number 2 on this list. But the retards that make out the Olympic selections, the Olympic Committee, remember all those women, those hateful, spiteful women? Dawn Staley's one of them, if I remember correctly, was involved in that. Cheryl Reeve, the coach, number 2 player in the entire league, not on the Olympic team. Just pointing that out.
But here's where it gets really mind-blowing. Clark's impact isn't just about this season. She's making people rethink the future of women's basketball. We're talking about a player who's so good, so exciting to watch, that she's forcing everyone to raise their game. Other players are pushing themselves harder, knowing they need to keep up. Coaches are getting creative, trying to figure out how to stop her or how to find the next Caitlin Clark.
So Caitlin Clark is somebody that is going to probably, she's going to, I would say, be, in my opinion, the second favorite for MVP. I think she is going to be the second favorite for MVP in the WNBA. That is how confident I am in Caitlin Clark's year 2.